Now, we all know the job market is a mess right now, and you get told to just be honest on your resume. But let's be real for a second here. Honesty is not exactly rewarded here. I mean, you got a job gap, suddenly recruiters think that you've been hiding in a bunker, living off of canned beans and avoiding the sun. I mean, recruiters see a job gap and they assume the worst, that you're outdated, you're unreliable, and you're uncommitted. Never mind the reasons behind the gap. They've already decided your story for you. So in this video, I want to break that cycle and help you take control of that narrative. So first off, a job gap isn't just a blank space on your resume. It's honestly an open invitation for judgment. So maybe you took time off to care for your family. Maybe you had a reset after a burnout. None of that makes you less qualified, but to recruiters and hiring managers, it does. And their mindset is, why weren't you working? Because you're not allowed to not work. What's wrong with you? I mean, it's shallow and it's frustrating. The main thing here is that the longer the job gap, the worse it looks. The rejections pile up and the job gap just grows wider. Your confidence takes a hit and then doubt sneaks into your interviews. And before you know it, you're apologizing just for living your life instead of showing them why you're the person that they need. It's not about your skills, it's about perception. And that's something that you can reshape. Now, there are a few different ways to tackle this. Of course, you can be honest and just leave your job gap on your resume and hope that it even gets to the person or company you're applying to, but chances are they'll see the job gap and won't even respond. This is the entire problem here because job gaps themselves aren't actually that much of a make or break deal. Once you get to the interview and they meet you and they see you and they talk with you and you demonstrate your skills, job gaps kind of go to the back of the mind. However, if you're trying to give someone your full story up front in a cover letter or when you're applying to a job, they're not going to read it. They're just going to think, oh, this person's just trying to give me a sob story or whatever. So don't do that. If you're honest and it's about something like burnout or family medical stuff, then it's really up to the person that you're applying to decide if they care about your story or not. If it was something that they can't ask questions about, again, it's still up to them to decide if they care or if that's valid. And you'll never know because they probably just won't respond. So instead, we'll modify the job gap to make you look perfect for the job. And there's a few different ways you can do this. First one, my favorite one, is go ahead and make yourself your own business and be employed for yourself, but not as the CEO or founder. In fact, you can just be a sole proprietor, and that's enough to establish yourself as a business. Now, what's a sole proprietorship? It's the simplest form of business ownership, you operating as yourself. No fancy paperwork, no incorporation, no fees, just you, your skills, and your drive. At any point in time, you can be self-employed as a sole proprietor, and you can put yourself as an employee of that sole proprietorship company. And here's the beauty of it. Even if you didn't turn a profit, even if you lost money, it doesn't matter. It's still a business. A sole proprietor can operate without generating revenue and still be legitimate. That means you can list your work as founder at Your Name Solutions, although I wouldn't recommend using titles such as CEO, founder, executive. Just use an employee title that shows you are working at a company that you just happen to own. Again, the point here is just to get to the interview and show them your skills and your personality and that you can do the job. Stigma has no place here. For those of you out there that still want to continue applying, being open and honest, more power to you. But at a certain point, when that's not working and your bills are piling up, you got to do what you got to do. The key here with filling the job gap is showcasing the skills you developed and the projects you worked on. Even if it was for yourself, for your own sole proprietorship that made no money or even lost money. You were still working for a business that, again, just happens to be yours, but they don't need to know that. For example, maybe you spent 6 months learning Photoshop. Well, now you're a UI UX designer at Your Name Visuals. Built a simple website for a friend's Etsy store. Well, that's freelance web consultant, pal. Taught yourself coding? Well, now you're a software developer at Your Name Tech Solutions. Again, don't use your name. Be a little bit more creative than this. But the title isn't the point. The point is showing that you stayed active and invested in growth of some sort. Now, you can utilize this for multiple positions if you want to, and just put your own dates in there. You can be a sole proprietorship for as many businesses as you want, for any time you want, really. Did you make any money? No. Your business doesn't have to be some tangible corporate building that you have to go to. It just has to be what you were doing business as. Remember, the overall goal here is to shift attention from gap to growth. Job gaps aren't failures for people, they're just chapters, and the world has kind of tried to convince us that job gaps mean there's something wrong with you, but that's a lie. Your value is it's not tied to an unbroken timeline. It's in what you've done, what you've learned, and what you can bring to the table. Every moment that you've spent adapting, growing, or just surviving still has value, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. The hiring system isn't built for second chances, but you don't need their permission to succeed. It's about the value you bring to the table, not someone's subjective opinion of job gap stigma. So do whatever you can to get to the interview and explain everything. It's a lot harder to get someone out of the interview in person or on a Zoom call than it is to just ignore an application that was sent to an Indeed inbox that maybe they'll see and maybe they won't. Because if you're honest about your job gap up front, the computer systems filtering your applications won't even give you a chance to explain that. If the topic of dates even comes up, you can address it like it's no big deal. Just, oh yeah, they let my department go and I've been actively searching since. You're calm, you're confident, and the focus stays on what you're bringing to the table. And honestly, most of the time, this won't even come up. If they like you and you've shown that you can do the job, the exact dates on your resume aren't going to matter. The interview is where you get your chance to shine, not when you're applying to the job. Always remember that. The application process is a joke, but talking to someone or sitting in front of them is totally different. Now, depending on how long your job gap is here, you can always just take the date of when you were last working and just go ahead and change that to be present. And then when they find out, or if they find out about it, again, just address it calm and confidently. Oh, yeah, they let my department go due to budget cuts and I've been searching since. What are the next steps for this process? Redirect back to what you're bringing, because it's about value you add to the company. Again, a job gap is not the end of the line. Even though it feels like it for a lot of people, it's actually a turning point for you to frame it, own it, and make it part of the reason they say, holy crap, we need this person. And if all else fails, you can just tell them that you were the CEO of Keeping It Together Incorporated. A role that I think we've honestly all mastered by this point. Oh, and one last thing here, something new for 2025, positive energy. So at the end of each video, I'm just gonna shout out someone who's helped me or given me a good laugh recently. And today's shout out goes to Donut King TV. He is absolutely hilarious. They stream every single night making donuts, fresh for the morning rush. And if you're having trouble sleeping and you need a laugh, this channel is the place to be. And trust me, you'll see some of the biggest balls of your life. Sorry, I mean dough balls, donut dough balls of your life.
If there's anyone new here, please let me show you my balls. This is what I'm known for. Biggest pair of balls on Twitch.
And you can count donuts or apple fritters till you fall asleep. And you can thank me later because seriously, it's really brightened my days. Oh, and if you're looking for more ways to get around this corporate nonsense and to see how they manipulate you and how you can do the same in return to finesse your way to what you want, well then check out my courses at joshuafluke.store where I dive deep into all the hacks dealing with HR manipulation, crafting resumes and cover letters that get noticed, and navigating all the little games that the system likes to throw at you. Anyways, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, if it helped you, maybe leave a like and click subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Oh, and if you have any topics or content you'd like me to showcase on the channel, then you can email me, Instagram, Discord, all the links for that are down in the description. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope everyone is doing really well, and I'll see you in the next one.